bad news is that some of this information is very sensitive and I will not be posting it publicly in its whole form video on YouTube. The good news is that you can join my Patreon page and watch the entire video for only $5 a month to have access to all of my more sensitive videos and additional little benefits that I throw in there as well. Hello everyone. So this is a reading on the elite, on Russia, on Ukraine, on Biden, and just what's really going on with this political chess game that we're experiencing and living through currently in 2022. So what I get is that, and this is probably no surprise to many people, but Biden is following orders from people very, very high up, and he seems a little confused himself about himself and what is going on. And they go above the World Economic Forum. So although the World Economic Forum is working to make and this is what I get when I tune into it, that they're working to make the EU, the European Union, dominant over the US. I get the sense that these people above the World Economic Forum are kind of like the most powerful, and then I got the sense that there's people, like very few individuals above that. But when I tune into them, I get this like Joker vibe, like Joker from the Batman, and it's almost like they're hysterical, and it's as if they are like possessed or something, and they're not very stable. So even though they're higher up on one level in the totem pole, like they may have like more clearance, or not necessarily more clearance, but they're more in the dark realm of reality. They're able to have access to things that other people aren't. They know these very dark secrets, and people basically they're able to get their way, and so that's kind of what puts them up at the top of the pyramid, so to speak. However, at the very same time, when I tune into them, I get that they're less stable. So because of this, ungroundedness of them, they actually, on some level, have less power than the people below them, which is the people above the World Economic Forum. So these people above the World Economic Forum, they're basically the people who the conspiracy theories are about, besides for this other group of people who are above them, but they're kind of like loony and kind of crazy and just kind of possessed by like dark powers, you could say. At least that's the way that it comes through for me. I saw him as represented by the Joker from Batman. But anyways, these who cover up alien technology and things of that nature because they don't want other people to have power, and so they know that knowledge is power, and that's kind of the whole thing here, is secrecy, and they use secrets for their power. And so the higher you go up, the more secrets people know. That's the general idea here. More centralized power. Although crashing the EU maybe is not the right word, it's more like they want to dissolve the power. Once they kind of work their way into that power dynamic, then they want to dissolve it and kind of let that power spread out throughout the world so that they are still in control of it, but they're able to kind of bring it to more parts of the world and then build that up and then dissolve that to reach more of the world. is they can take advantage of the chaos in a similar way that the stock market goes up and down, and people make money off of it going up and down who trade stocks, versus if it just was flat, no one would ever really make money. But because it goes up and down, people are able to sell it when it's up and then buy it when it's down and make profit as it goes up again and sell it. And then in that sort of manner, that's what these elite are doing in the world with chaos between different countries, etc. It's kind of like how a weapons manufacturer can sell weapons to two different armies who are fighting each other at the same time and make profit off of both of them. Basically similar to that. So when I tune into them, I get the sense that they dislike the free-spirited entrepreneurial spirit of the US. Although I also get the sense that in the past they have used it to their advantage. So, it's not necessarily like it's black or white. It's not like good or bad. It's just right now that's what they're trying to do to manipulate the situation on the planet as a whole. So they're trying to kind of crash the economy, but more so dissolve the economy, like what I was saying, so that the power that they've accumulated in the US can be dispersed and then built back up and centralized more, and then dispersed to centralized more and more over time. So that's their long-term plan. These people are more rooted in Europe, however, and so some of their plans have been complicated by the US, is what I was getting. This is again about the spirit of the people in the US and kind of like that revolutionary free spirit, kind of seeing beyond the veil, so to speak, if you want to say it like that. But it's also the fact that people are kind of, they have the power to make change in the US as opposed to, much less wealthy countries in the world. And people have this desire to make change. And so while they've used that in the past, it's also something they don't want to be used against them too. So when I tune into Trump as opposed to Joe Biden, so to speak. So when it comes to Putin in this whole situation, I get that they want Putin to do what he is doing, and they want him to be aggressive. So when I tune into Putin with Ukraine, there's many different aspects going on here, and I do get that the U.S. is, using Ukraine as a proxy war to attack Russia, so there's aggression coming from there. However, I also do get a lot of aggressive energy coming from Putin and Russia as well. I get the sense that Putin has made deals with these elite in the past, but now he's being kind of used by them, not necessarily, well, not for his benefit, but for their benefit. And on some level, you could say he's, been kind of almost part of their group on some level, because the elite group that I'm talking about, there's many sections of it, there's many groups within this group, and it's just kind of like widespread. I made a previous video on the Patreon page about this that you can check out, where I kind of explain it. It's not really as cut and dry as a group as people think. It's more like chaotic and just like a criminal enterprise, basically, with many groups within it that all kind of battle each other and even cross and intermingle, and it's complicated. I'll put it that way. But anyways, Putin is being used as this aggressor, he's been kind of tricked into being so aggressive in order to create more centralized power for the European government, for the EU, and the people who are controlling the people who control the EU here. And the US just, like Putin, and Biden just seemed kind of oblivious playing golf, is what I was getting. So there's aggressive energy coming from Putin at the moment, and the West is caught off guard. And I do see Biden and Kamala Harris both very worried and upset about the situation, because they're just caught off guard. So the media is lying about the positive outlook of Ukraine against Russia, and the reason for this is because they want an emotional attachment to the outcome, so that people will be emotionally invested, and when this doesn't work out, if it doesn't work out, then they will demonize Putin and Russia even more, specifically Putin, because they want to destroy Putin. He's he's a power structure that just isn't fitting with them, as I've explained. So they're also using Zelensky as a tool to resist any peace treaty, because he's not going to sign any peace treaty, at least not very easily, that is. When I tune into Russia, I also get that Russia is not planning on signing any peace treaty, and this is because they know they have the upper hand. So I don't see any peace treaties really being signed unless Ukraine gets really, 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 really desperate and basically has no other option, basically. Full grip that they want over the rest of, well, the US in particular. So the US is being targeted a little bit here. So when I tune into this for what's happening in the future, where things may be headed, I get that these elite people will stay in power, but they're going to be losing their power, and it's like kind of like in the same way that they like to dissolve their power, ironically their power is being dissolved at the same time into the world, and this is just kind of a shift that's happening energetically in the world and culturally that is kind of screwing them over. So that's what I have about my take on everything based off of what I've been reading, as well as I'll admit there is a little bit of interpreting what I read and speculating with it. So this Patreon page is slightly more speculative in nature, although I still do my best to stick to being neutral to things when I read them, and not, jumping to conclusions or reading something and then being like, oh, well, this is part of what I believe, so I'm going to throw in my narrative to it. I completely take my narrative out of the reading, and I just say what I read, but I do connect dots sometimes, so a little bit of some aspect of a narrative may trickle in a little bit. I'm being completely transparent here. So that's more so where I'm at with the Patreon page, where I'm going to be a little bit more ballsy, I guess you could say. I'm going to say more what's on my mind and not hold back quite as much. So if you have questions or something you would like to suggest, go ahead and let me know on the Patreon page, and I will prioritize questions from Patreon members over non-Patreon members, so just so you know. All right. Thank you for watching and have a great day.